In this question, we're told that h is inversely proportional to p, and then we're told that p is directly proportional to root t. Given that h is equal to 10 and t is equal to 144 when p is equal to 6, we need to find a formula for h in terms of t. Now let's start by setting up equations that represent our proportionalities. Now if h is inversely proportional to p, we can say that h is equal to some constant over p, and we can call this constant any letter. So let's say that constant is a. We can say that h is equal to a over p. Then we're told that p is directly proportional to the square root of t. Now if it's directly proportional, we can say that p is equal to some constant multiplied by root t. And now be careful not to use the same constant for our formula for h and our formula for p, because these two constants are not necessarily the same. So we can say that p is equal to b root t, where our constant is equal to b. Now we want to find these two constants so that we have a formula for h and a formula for p. We'll start by finding the formula for h. Now we're told that h is equal to 10 and t is equal to 144 when p is equal to 6. And so we can substitute these values into our formula for h. We know that h is equal to a over p. We can see that we don't need the value of t for this part. We're trying to find a, and we know the value of h and p. h is equal to a over p, and so 10 is equal to a over 6, because we know that h is equal to 10 when p is equal to 6. And multiplying both sides by 6, we can say that a is equal to 10 multiplied by 6, which is equal to 60. And so we've found that h is equal to 60 over p. Now we need to find the formula for p. We said that p is equal to b multiplied by root t. We know that p is equal to 6 when t is equal to 144, and we need to find b. And so we can say that 6 is equal to b multiplied by the square root of 144. Simplifying this, we know that the square root of 144 is equal to 12, and so 6 is equal to b multiplied by 12. And now dividing both sides by 12, we can say that b is equal to 6 divided by 12, which is equal to 1 over 2. And so given that p is equal to b root t, and we now know that b is equal to 1 over 2, we can say that p is equal to 1 over 2 multiplied by root t. And writing this in a slightly different way, we can say that p is equal to root t over 2. And so we found that h is equal to 60 over p, and p is equal to root t over 2. We're asked to find the formula for h in terms of t. And so knowing that p is equal to root t over 2, we can substitute this in to our formula for h. So let's write down the fact that h equals 60 over p. Now if we know that p is equal to root t over 2, we can say that h is equal to 60 divided by root t over 2. Now let's write this in a way that's easy for us to work out. H equals 60 divided by root t over 2. Now when we divide by a fraction, we can flip the fraction and change the division sign into a multiplication sign. And so we can say that h is equal to 60 multiplied by 2 over root t. And so when we multiply this fraction, we'll find that h is equal to 120 over root t. And so we've now found a formula for h in terms of t. And so our answer to this question is that h is equal to 120 over root t. Now this question is worth 4 marks. We get the first mark for setting up our equations, and for saying that h is equal to a over p, and p is equal to b root t. We get the second mark for substituting the values given to us to find a formula for h and a formula for p. Now we get the third mark for finding that h is equal to 60 over p, and for finding that p is equal to root t over 2. And finally, we get the fourth mark for substituting our formula for p into our formula for h, and for getting a final answer that h is equal to 120 over root 2. And so we've now achieved the full 4 marks needed in this question.